In 2003, a lawyer, John Romano, wrote an article in the local paper. It was sent to every living member of a particular community during a particular time period. It wasn't about the circumstances of 2003, like President Bush's claims of WMDs overseas and the war that had just begun. It wasn't about the 6.6 earthquake that had hit California, or even the termination of the Galileo mission. Romano wrote about something many people never really paid attention to. It was something so distant from what we were experiencing in 2003. It seemed to be of no point to reflect on it. But Romano wrote about the 7th Ward in Yonkers, New York from 1932 to 1952. And this was a time when people lived. Memories were made, huge chunks of history were lived through. And we have 84-year-old Fanny Cherugi, someone who has grown up in the 7th Ward, someone who's lived there from the years 1932 to 1952.
I was born in 28, the Depression was 29. So we lived with no money, no food, no nothing. If somebody gave you work for a day, you took it. We had no coats, no clothes. We used to go to sleep with somebody's hand-me-down jackets. We slept 4 in a bed. We only lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I used to go clean the lady's house for $1. She used to give me $1, and that's how we had money. And
that was when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I was like 8, 9 years old. She used to make me scrub the hallways and everything on my knees. She lived in the apartment building next door. Her name was Mrs. Daniels. And then she used to make me take the big heavy rugs and put them over a line, because you didn't have vacuums in those days. And she used to give me a thing that looked like a tennis racket. And I had to whack it and whack it until all the dust came out, all the dust came out. Then she used to make me scrub her hallways, because she owned the building, on my knees for $1. When I finally got to be 16 years old, I quit school and I went to work, and that's how we got ahead. Our bathrooms were in the hallways. You had to share it with somebody else. And then my mother used to make me go down the block. The man had a fruit and vegetable stand. I used to go down there. She used to make me go get the wooden boxes that the grapes came out of. And then she would sit me on the chair and take the boxes and bang them on my knees, and that's how we broke them. And then she made me light the stove. We had cast iron stoves. Put the wood in there with the paper and light the stove to get heat. We didn't have no electricity. We didn't have no gas. We had no heat, no food. Salvation Army gave us food. In other words, the city compensated some, then the Salvation Army got some. We never had Christmas. The Salvation Army gave us the food. And you got up in the morning whether it was cold. You didn't have heat. You had to get up in the morning with your coat on and light the stove to get some heat.
Was that like just something normal?
Yeah, it was normal for a lot of people. A lot of people. That's the way it was then. People didn't have money, you know? And that's the way we grew up.
When we first sat down, the beginning of the interview started with a particular tone. Then she said something that took me back.
Yeah, those were good days compared to today.
Really?
Those were the good times of my childhood days, and I've had good times of my adult life.
After she had said that, I couldn't help but to ask myself over and over and over again why this was so surprising to me. How could someone be so happy when every day was so tough to get through? What she had said struck a chord. Then she elaborated.
Let's put it this way. I had a good life as far as the Depression, growing up. You know what I'm saying? And later on getting what I needed, and we had money. Not a lot of money, but we had money. We could go out, we could go to the movies. And you stayed at the movies for 8 hours. You watched the movie over and over and over and over.
Same movie?
Yeah.
You'd go to the movies with your friends and
Yeah.
watch the same movie over
Same
again?
movie. Because they never threw you out.
Whoever.
Sometimes we stayed for 2 shows and we left. Sometimes we didn't stay all night, you know, whatever time it was. We could do a lot of things.
Soon enough, she took out the article that Romano had written, and about halfway through, she read something that had answered the question that resonated in my mind.
Our lives lacked all today's luxuries, but we wanted for nothing. We lived and shared each other. We relied on the workout, not the handout. We were a family practicing love. We were in complete harmony with each other.
And that was it. The solidarity was valid. with no luxuries to hold on to, people grabbed each other. They worked for everything they got and then shared it all. As Fanny Trugy had said, it was a time to live. But so is today. And I think that's what she was really getting at. That right now, wherever we are, no matter what the circumstances, it's as good as it'll ever be.
Something in your eyes